Jimenez family and friends, and also want to remember Mr. Boeheim and his family. During our early part of this investigation, we have learned that the Jimenez family is from Cuba and largely Spanish speakers. With that in mind, I have a very brief statement in Spanish. A la familia de Jorge Jimenez, lamentamos su pérdida. Nuestros pensamientos y oraciones están con su familia y amigos. On Wednesday, February the 20th, 2019, at approximately 11:22 p.m., Syracuse police responded to 690 East near the Thompsonville Road for a crash. Upon officers' arrival, they found a 51-year-old victim, later identified as Jorge Jimenez of Syracuse, who had been struck by a vehicle. The victim was transported to Upstate University Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. Our preliminary investigation indicates that the victim was an occupant in a vehicle that had lost control, striking the guardrail. The occupants then exited the vehicle and proceeded to walk on the highway with close proximity to that vehicle. An oncoming vehicle noticed the disabled car and tried avoiding the vehicle, which was in the middle of the road. As a result, the driver, James Boeheim, 74, of Fayetteville, New York, struck the victim who was crossing to the median. Both drivers remained on the scene and were cooperative with the investigation. Field sobriety and alcohol sensor tests for both drivers were negative for any signs of impairment. There are key points that we want to make sure that we emphasize that we have for the early parts of our investigation. They are that we received multiple calls on the incident, including one from Mr. Boeheim. Thus far, everyone has been totally cooperative with our investigation. We have interviewed 2 of the 3 occupants of the victim's vehicle and Mr. Boeheim this afternoon. I would like to reinforce that we have no reason to believe that either of the drivers of the vehicles was impaired at the time of the incident. In the near future, there will be an analysis of both vehicles, including data recovery and assessment of the damages. There will be reconstruction of the scene and analysis of the mechanics of the crash. And then lastly, we would conduct at the conclusion of our investigation, we present a file to the district attorney's office for their review, and Mr. Fitzpatrick is here to take any questions that you may have for his office. That's all we have now for that. Again, we're about less than 48 hours into this investigation, so please remember that this is still an ongoing investigation and we have limited information for you, but we will take your questions at this time.
So is there any circumstance at this point that you know of where there might be any criminal charges or loss of license for Mr. Boeheim or the driver?
At this time, we have no reason to believe that there are criminal charges that will be coming for anyone. Obviously, the final decision of that rests with Mr. Fitzpatrick, but at this time, we have no reason to believe that.
So 3 people were in the victim's car. You said in the interview 2 out of 3. How many people were in Boeheim's car?
Mr. Boeheim was in his car alone.
Were those people in the absence of the disabled car, were they related? Are they all family?
I do not know the relationship of the individuals in the car, but I know that there were a total of 4 individuals in the vehicle. We've interviewed 2 of the 3. There's 1 remaining individual that needs to be interviewed.
What do we know about Coach Boeheim's whereabouts between leaving the Carrier Dome and the game last night until this crash?
That's some information that's part of our ongoing investigation. I think we have some of that information, but as we've stated earlier before, this is an ongoing investigation, and we will conclude all of that in our final analysis and present that to the DA's office.
James Boeheim is arguably the highest profile person in Central New York. At this time, it sounds like you're ruling this an accident.
This is a tragedy. Certainly, it's an accident to where Mr. Jimenez has lost his life. We certainly want to make sure that I understand, given Mr. Boeheim's footprint nationally, why we have all of this attention. But we really have an accident where someone was killed that unfortunately involved a high-profile individual in our community and nationally, and that's pretty much how we're treating it. We want to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's and certainly do the right thing, but that's simply what we have is an accident.
But based on what you're explaining, it sounds like Coach Boeheim did exactly what any driver in this situation should do.
Mr. Boeheim did exactly what we would expect him to do. He stopped. He attempted to render aid. I believe at some point that he even attempted to stop other cars that were coming over that crest from hitting the vehicle that was still there in the roadway. So he did exactly what we would ask him to do. He was cooperative during our investigation both last night and today, and he could not have been more cooperative.
Chief, how were the road conditions at that point? Did ice or anything like that play a factor?
I believe that the weather and the conditions there played some role in that. Obviously, that's a part of the analysis that we will do. That's part of our reconstruction. That information will be provided later.
Do we know where the victim and the rest of the people in his car were going or coming from?
I don't think that we have that information this early into the investigation.
What do you know about the crash initially that led to the victim and his car being disabled in the middle of 690?
I believe that the victim's car hit a patch of ice or something, which caused them to hit the guardrail there. The occupants obviously realized that they were in a very compromised position, being there on the roadway. Did what a reasonable person would do, which is to try to get out of that vehicle and get to a safe location. Unfortunately, they were not able to do so, all of them, before actually being struck. I also want to recognize that there was a second gentleman that had minor injuries that we believe that was hit by a mirror of the car, who has minor injuries as a result of this incident as well.
That second injury coming from the same group of people?
From the same incident, yes, sir.
But the same vehicle, that disabled vehicle? Somebody with Jimenez in the car?
Someone with Jimenez, yes, sir, with Jimenez in the car, yes, sir.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Jimenez Bill 51 from Cuba? In speaking with his family, what was that reaction, that conversation like?
From what I've read and seen some of the things that you're saying, I mean, it's what you would expect it to be. They're devastated. Anytime you have someone's life, snatched away from you like that on an evening to where he's probably returning home or from some kind of event that we all do in the evenings, and to find that individual is not coming home again, is to be expected that they're devastated by this loss.
Did anyone